Dan, a lot of these people, frankly, don't even care.
I know that.
Some of the people that live up there, if they have no reason to come back there, they don't care. But it's good to know that, too. I'm not going to assume they care or don't care.
Well, I would say if they don't care,
They probably won't send a survey back.
well, or they don't know the difference between it. I mean, a lot of these people have not plowed. I've not plowed snow on my driveway, plowed snow, or driven fire trucks, or turned big equipment around. You know, so if they don't care, I guess I would leave it up to the guys that gotta maintain the road and gotta drive the equipment down here. And what's easier to manipulate in? Is it a turnaround, or a cul-de-sac, or a T? And then put it in. And I personally, I mean, I know there's a lot of history. I'm coming at the tail end. You know, I am not forming any opinions about anything or anyone based on the history. I'm going to form my opinions and based on what's going forward. I'd like to get along with everybody and enjoy living out here. I don't live out here, but enjoy. My wife says I spend way too much time out here. But you know, I'd like to enjoy getting along, and I'd like to have a decent place to I think turn around or cul-de-sac to improve the property values down here. Now I don't know what happens to the road. We can talk about that some other day. But whatever is the easiest, most efficient, least expensive option that takes care of the guys driving the trucks.
I make one other point. T-turnarounds are no longer acceptable or allowed under the subdivision regulations in Lincoln County. They're only constructed as a short-term temporary measure. When a developer is building a road, he has to stop for a period of time before he can continue building that road. They will allow him to build a temporary T-turnaround until he can continue building that road. You are not allowed to have a permanent T-turnaround in Lincoln County.
All right, ready for my comments? Now, some of this, by the way, that I'm going to say was, I tried to put my thoughts down in writing before the meeting. Some of it Tim has addressed. Some of the issues that I'm going to bring up, they're still in there as partial comments about the errors that I saw as far as the profile section. And I also appreciate Ken Oswald's comments, and I appreciate all their time they spent out here, and I can totally agree with them. But sometimes people have to start doing things the right way and actually adhere to the requirements. That's one of the things I really believe in from my past background in the military and the federal government. There's rules and regulations on everything, and it's about time people read them and abide by them. And I think you're doing a good job as far as hopefully getting that across to our elected officials. So here we are, gathered again 1 year after a previous special meeting and about the issue of Cooperrider Road turnaround. Last time I had no idea what to expect, since I could never get anyone to fully explain the exact reason for the meeting. So I was ready to defend the issues of damage to government property, stolen rocks, and putting it back the way it was. But at that meeting, with mediation efforts by County Prosecutor Ken Oswald, we seem to have overcome these ridiculous issues. So why are we still not at a conclusion on this lengthy turnaround saga? Well, that's really amazing. Having read all the applicable higher revised code sections as they apply to the Board of Trustees, especially concerning road improvements with and without petition, it's quite evident there's been a complete failure of the previous board and even two of its current members to understand and adhere to the specific requirements. Had the specific board members, whose current trustee Watkinson was also a member, read, adhered, and followed the specific ORC requirements in 94 and early 1995, not only would a T turnaround been officially recorded on the county road records and tax maps, but also on the property owner's deed. Not only that, but the original petitioners, such as Reed and Mills, who had requested the improvement, could have been made to pay for such an improvement. Thus, there would have been minimal time, effort, and cost to the county or the township. But my thanks goes out to Trustee Corpenning for being the only trustee to date that seems to be willing to take the extra effort to read and is willing to adhere to the ORC requirements he swore to abide by when he was voted into office. Had I been aware of Resolution 14420, which was the 95 resolution to extend and improve the road, or I had been made aware of it by Trustee Watkins when I asked the board about a place for the school bus to turn around, I could certainly have asked for some compensation from the previous property owner, Mills, who I bought the property from in June of 1996. Sad thing was, I didn't even become aware of it until 2007 when County Engineer Tim Lolo came out to my property to survey and stake out a cul-de-sac. Upon questioning Tim Lolo about this, he informed me that he came out at the request of Trustee Watkins and Van Buren. Apparently, there was even a prearranged meeting of these two board members with Tim Lolo at the site. Yet Trustee Corpenny was never notified, nor was this brought up at any of the public meetings at the time. Interestingly, not one resident ever came to the board to ask for a cul-de-sac. As far as the records indicate, I'm the only resident came before the board in early 2000 and asked about a place for the school bus to turn around, which incidentally should never have even have had asked for, had the required action been taken 7 years earlier. The fact is, since 1995, some members of the Board of Trustees have taken numerous illegal actions to expand and improve the turnaround. Examples being days prior to our 2007 meeting, when these members took deliberate action to drop off more limestone along the south side of the right-of-way. Recently, I witnessed another and even videotaped the action taking place. They have even gone so far as to spread limestone past the 30-foot line. If you go over and look at the 30-foot line, it's past the 30-foot line, so they were off the right-of-way. Yet nobody seems to be able to stop these sort of illegal actions by elected officials. These specific acts and others that have taken place on township roads are clearly illegal acts in accordance with ORC 5573. These acts, since there were no formal resolutions made, nor formally coordinated with the county engineer, have gone so far off track as to impact the county's tax maps and ODOT's road inventory records, the RI 34B report. Yet these same trustees accuse me of taking illegal actions in a public forum. Worse yet, Trustee Van Buren calls out the sheriff without any sort of public meeting or notice to me. Why? He calls it a dumping over here, and I call it a case of placing some landscaping rocks around my private pond, which is on the very edge of the 30-foot right-of-way. These same board members even had the gall to make a formal resolution to make me put it back the way it was, when all I did was to improve my personal property and install a private driveway in it. One only has to wonder what happened since 1995 to revise the T-shaped turnaround to a much larger, bigger cul-de-sac. I have videos of both the school buses and trash trucks turning around without any problems. I also have a video of the mail carrier who currently makes deliveries without ever having to back up. I might also add that over 1.5 years ago, I had notified the Board of Trustees in writing that I was open to the idea of giving up additional private property to the north in order to allow for a T-shaped turnaround to be officially placed on the record. I also did a petition drive of 75% of the residents of Cooperrider Road. Not one of them thought the money should be spent on the cul-de-sac. They all thought the fee was just fine, and they wanted the extra money spent on the road and right-of-way instead. Also of interest to me was the fact that neither the past landowner, Dick Reed, nor current landowner, Crawford Lipsey, were given the option of only giving up the small 15 by 30 foot section required for the fee. For some reason, they were both asked to give up way more private property for a cul-de-sac. In Dick's case, it was even after the fact issue, since he already had agreed to a T-shaped turnaround via the 1995 resolution. He had even taken down his fence and a farm gate in anticipation of it being installed. So obviously, that's all in the past. So now let's talk about where we are today. We now have been provided with some plans and specifications for this road improvement, but from reviewing the data supplied by Engineer Tim Lolo, I have quite a bit of concern about the profile sections and drawings supplied for the cul-de-sac. Let alone, I cannot see any way that the profile section of the T-shaped turnaround can be correct. There's absolutely no way that any of the different sizes of cul-de-sacs depicted on the supplied drawing can be correct. If they were, the telephone pole and fence over here would have to be moved since they would be clearly inside the cul-de-sac. All the above issues severely impact cost, and thus the overall cost of the T-turnaround versus cul-de-sac is incorrectly stated. Please look at the area marked off by Tim Lolo, which is the wooden stakes on the south, and see how much drop-off there is to be filled. The turnaround was marked by me, see metal stakes with flags and cones over here,